Welcome back to the channel, guys. I owe you an update on this e-bike, this bad boy right here. If you've been subscribed for a while, then you obviously know that I built this bike about 3 years ago. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's been happening with the e-bike and all that side of stuff. There's been a lot going on. So just to give you a recap of what this bike actually is. So this is based around a Chinese frame, which we now sell in our store. And at the back here, we've got a 5,000 watt motor with a 19-inch wheel. So coming up here, we've got some pretty high rated RockShox rear suspension. So this is like a rear swing arm setup. The frame here, these side panels I've just covered in carbon. Motorcycle seat, so you can actually swap this round for a normal saddle if you want. I'll come back to this stuff here. RockShox front suspension. Same sort of setup on the front, another motorcycle rim on the front, same size as the rear 19-inch. So this bike is currently running about 12 kilowatts, 12 to 14 kilowatts. The highest it's ever been is about 15 kilowatts with different setups. So that's 15,000 watts, guys. Like your normal bike is 250 watts. Obviously the road legal bikes are 250 watts, and this sort of off-road type thing is higher, a lot higher. So behind here I've got a big battery. I'm not going to take the side off because it's too much ag for the moment, but behind here I've got a big battery in which I actually made myself. You can check the videos out a little while ago. I covered building a battery from scratch, from cells, and kind of assembling all that. So in here is that battery, still going strong. Don't know how many cycles it's done, quite a lot, but basically it's all running fine. And that's mainly because we've got a blooming good battery management system in here. So the battery, for those that are interested, is a 72 volt 20S, so 20 cells in series, and a 25 amp hour. So 25 amp hour, 72 volts, and that works out about 2 kilowatts. So it's 2 kilowatt hours of energy storage in this bike, which is enough to get it, I don't know, probably about 30, nearly 40 miles if you're sort of going easy on it, which you never do. So coming up to the cockpit, lots of eye candy. We've got the Sadverton speed controller display, which I'll come back to in a minute. We've got a little phone here, which is a Jelly Pro, which handles the BMS, and I'll show you what that actually does. So first we've got to turn the bike on, which is done by this little button here. You can see this will then fire up. Right, so it's all turned on. You can see battery voltage there, current and other stuff. I won't go into it in this one. So now you can turn the speed controller on by just holding that down. So there's your coloured dashboard, guys. Look at that. Time's wrong. Those are your assist levels. That's your speed in miles per hour, kilometres there. You can change that. And your power, maximum power that you're putting out, and your trip meter for miles. So you can change the power levels by just pushing this button up and down. 0 is basically nothing. Twist throttle on there, so nothing's going to happen. And then if you put it into 1, obviously it will. You don't really want to be doing that. So there you go, no petrol, no mess, no noise, no nothing. Just turns on and it's armed and dangerous. So those of you interested in the speed controller that I'm using on this, I've done other videos about this, but right now I'm using the Sadverton 150 amp 72 volts. So it's a pretty high power controller. I've got it maxed out. It pulls more than 150 amps out of this battery. It pulls something around probably like 170 to 180 amps on full acceleration, which is probably a little bit too much for this battery, but it seems to do it. So that controller kit comes with everything in the box. You get the display, the switch set for changing the power assist levels, the throttle, and all the connections are pretty much done. So all you've got to do is plug in these individual bits and then basically just connect your battery and your motor. So it's pretty straightforward to set up. So aside from that, what else have I got? I've got a little fan here which I don't use anymore. You can hear it spin up. I don't actually use that anymore because this controller doesn't get warm, as I was saying. The Adapto controller, on the other hand, used to burn up. So other things I should mention, inside here I've got a DC to DC converter which takes the voltage from the battery down to 12 volts so we can run lights. I've got full lights on here, so you've got the rear light, that's a tail light, brake light, so that's all done. This has actually got indicators on as well, this little rear cluster, so left and right and left or whatever way around. And then you've got obviously a front light, which is the LED one, which is, this thing's bright enough, I'll tell you what. Oh yeah, another thing, you need damn good brakes on these things. So I've got Tektro Dorado front and rear brakes on here. I did have Hope brakes on here, which were insane, but I had to switch over to these Tektro ones because of the levers. Because if you're going to actually try and register this as a motorcycle, you need to have these silly little ball end things on the end, and you need to have proper sized levers as well. The Hope ones, which are on this other bike here, you can see they've got pretty small levers, so they're all right for mountain bike, but they're not really good enough for like sort of motorcycle stuff. And they got the sensor wires on as well, which you can use for the brake lights and the e-brakes. And this, which is really important, it's a level gauge for the oil, which you have to have for MSVA as well. And I ripped off the rear derailleur because you just don't need gears with this thing. That last one's enough just to pedal if you need to. So there you go, guys, that's the bike at the moment. I think it's a good balance between power and weight. It certainly does go like stink. It's a ridiculous power to weight ratio. I worked it out the other day. But anyway, the main thing I get asked obviously is how fast does it go? And at the moment this does about 55, nearly 60 mile an hour. So it's enough on something like this. It's enough, trust me. As I mentioned earlier in the video, we've got a store now that sells all the parts. So if you're interested in e-bikes and you're interested in building one of these bikes, you can do it now. We've sold all of the individual parts so you can put this together yourself at home in your own workshop. There's loads of information, loads of resources on this channel. So go and check out some of the other videos I've done. If you're not interested in making something this crazy and you just want to make a normal bike, there's another video on the channel which converts like a normal mountain bike into an e-bike. You might find that one useful. But yeah, go and check out the store. There's loads of stuff on there. Thanks for everyone that's supported and bought the kits and stuff that we've done so far on the Kirby bike brand. It's all going really, really well. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you've enjoyed it and I'll catch you in the next one, guys.